Hey, it's Tim Brown. This is the Hook Better Leads podcast, and today I have Benny Fisher with me. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. This is awesome.
Big Fish Contracting out of
Pittsburgh,
and we are talking about why you need a roofing sales process. And before we get into that, I'd love if you give a little bit of background on building your company and why how sales process has played a role.
Yeah, sales was crucial, first of all, to even start my roofing company, because you got to be able to go out there and get off the ground. I had a career in sales, so it was probably a little easier for me than maybe the guy that swings the hammer to go out and have to learn how to sell. So I was able to do that for the first couple of years, and I was the number one salesperson in my own company. Imagine that. A lot of you guys are probably feeling that too. But then as I started to hire employees and I was still responsible for selling and then getting the manager, like trying to manage all the people and all the problems, you can't do two things well, right? And I was in a lot of pain, like personal pain. I felt stuck. I felt like quitting. I felt miserable. It wasn't the dream that I had in my head when I started the Big Fish Contracting Company, and I couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting traction, why I wasn't moving forward. And if it was right before COVID, I was at a roofing, the IRE. I was walking by one of those trade booths, and I saw Ryan Groth, and he had a baseball diamond on the back wall or something like that, and it said Sales Transformation Group. I talked to him for a little bit, and I was telling him about all my pain. I was like, I tried to train a couple sales guys before. I put them in a truck, threw them an iPad. Some of them got it, some of them didn't. And then after a couple months, when that guy didn't get it, then I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working, and I was just frustrated. And I took this course. And I was like, wow. I said, this is the way I sell. I just didn't know that was the way I sell. I never knew the how behind my madness, how I was doing it. I just kind of did it. And because I watched for 20 years of guys before me, and I kind of just picked up little bits and pieces. So once I learned that process and dove deep into the process, then I was able to teach that to the 2 or 3 or 4 guys I had on my team. A year later, a guy that was on my team that learned that he started in sales basically that month I bought the program. He was a roofing project manager for me the year before, but before that he worked in the restaurant business. He was a wine sommelier. He came to me because I did a roof for him because I met him at the country club. His name's Mark Kania. Came to me, said, "Hey, I'll take a job. I just want to get out. I got a family." So he came to be a project manager. Well, it turns out he was a terrible project manager. Sorry, Mark, if you're watching. And I said, "Why?" But he was a good guy. And I was like, I loved him. And I thought he was good. And I said, come into the sales department. I just bought this new sales. It's I call it sales manager training in a box, right? And a sales system in a box. I'm like, you're going to be my first. I want to test it out on you. I want to try it out. And we did. We worked through the course and we did that. And, the first year, I think he sold $2.3 million, which is freaking more than I ever sold. As being the guy that was doing all the sales, I think the most I ever did was 1.3 or 1.5 million. But then I was also being CEO and trying to manage, being operations manager, helping process invoices. And then so he did that, and I had a couple other guys that were learning, they were doing pretty good. And then the next year, because I always got in it myself, because I really have a passion for sales. So when I would take the course, I would do it again, because when I would get up in front of everybody to put it on, I wanted to be really, really prepared, right? Mm-hmm. Because I never, we're talking about a baseball diamond.
I'll show it right here.
Yeah, first base, second base, third base. I never had a way to, when guys would come back from an appointment, they would be like, oh, yeah, I didn't close. All right, well, no, you said you liked me. He was the nicest guy I ever bought a roof from. But that was all we had to talk about. Mm-hmm. So now we have a system where we can say, oh, what happened, between first base, second base, third base, home plate. And there's a system, there's a method to the madness.
So we'll walk through the baseball diamond on audio for people that aren't seeing this image right here. But it's kind of like with traction too. You're a big fan of traction.
Oh, EOS. Yeah, big fan.
When you do EOS and you do traction, you have things to talk about. You got rocks, you got level 10s.
Accountability charts.
It's nice to have that data. That way to kind of be able to talk amongst yourselves. It's like a palette to
it's a common language.
Things. Yeah.
It's that's the thing, because when you hire 5 random salespeople and they have 5 different backgrounds, one was a car dealer, one was a real estate, one was a mortgage guy, one sold shoes at the mall.
Yeah.
Well, now we're dealing with 5 different sales processes coming to you, and you have a different sales process. Yeah. And if you don't have a sales process, there's no way to get everyone on the same page.
So let's just real quick walk through the baseball diamond. So first first base is suspect, second base is prospect, third base is qualified. Obviously, getting rounded into home would be closed.
Yeah.
So
first base is really easy. That's like, it's like going on a date. It's like, all right, well, I'm a little bit iffy on the customer. The customer's a little iffy on the roofer, right? And that's right. That's why it's called suspect. That's when they call in. For whatever reason, they either call in or you go knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
Usually on a knock on a door, it's a little bit better than just a cold call lead in, for somebody from you just get a lead from the internet, Google lead or SEO lead comes in. They don't really know much about you. You don't know much about them. The first thing that you want to do is, I call it make a juicy discovery call on that phone. Take 10 or 15 minutes and really ask some really good questions. You talked about EOS, at our company, we are focused on roofing, siding, gutters. If they call for decks, guess what? We're not just sending a salesman out on a deck call. So we're going to try to help spare that salesman's time, right? So the office can try to weed out some stuff. We're trying to disqualify as much as we're trying to qualify. And you do that by, asking some good questions on the front end and then booking the appointment. Once you get to the appointment, you're on first base. Now it's time to turn him from a suspect to a prospect.
I have to talk about briefly. A lot of roofers just don't have enough leads to be able to be selective.
And that's a common, and I would tell those roofers, I understand. I've been
But you
there.
still have to do it.
I've been there before.
Yeah.
I've been there before, and if you can get that out of your mind,
Pretend like
you're in demand, because when you're scarce, customers will feel that. You're creating more demand for yourself. And also, I would say you're better off to go spend time with your family than spend time with an unqualified customer. Don't be on wild goose chases, because I remember when I did that. I did a deck for a guy one time, and we weren't deck guys, but because I needed money, we did it. And it took us 3 times longer than it should have. There was more problems. There was more callbacks. It's the cost of, it's the things that you don't do in business that make you money. I don't know if you've ever heard of that before. It's the things that you don't do that actually is where all the money is being made. You just don't see it because it's not measurable.
That's so good. It's so good. It's so funny because, this is why I'm in roofing marketing more than I'm in remodeling marketing. First of all, that market is just, they can only do so many jobs. It's a little bit more contained.
Yeah.
But the other thing is sometimes it's craftsmen. And there's nothing, it can get very unprofitable being a craftsman.
Perfectionist,
owner. And part of it is no, I had remodelers that would be I want a new type of problem. They're always trying to solve a new type of problem. They're I've never done patio pavers around a pool like this.
Yeah, they're artists. They're artists.
It's but that is the most unprofitable work you can do of always reinventing yourself. So it's if you get it down though, you know what I mean? I don't know, what's that quote of, I don't fear the man who did 10,000 kicks. I fear the man who did
Bruce Lee.
One kick 10,000 times.
Right.
That is to me a lot of the roofers that got it down to a very clear. It's one kick, but that sucker hits.
But for a lot of people, if you're really creative, and because there are some guys out there that run roofing companies that are creative and they want, that's okay. You're just not ready to scale. You're not going to be able to ever scale that, and that's okay for you. I think today we're talking more about the guys that actually want to scale. They want to have they want to do the same thing over and over again, right?
But profitably.
And
part of that is not, like you said, not doing some things. So if they're rounding first on this baseball diamond, and for more, check out Sales Transformation Group. Ben one of the coaches.
No, I'm not a coach.
Oh,
I'm just a customer.
A customer, a badass customer.
Yeah, I just love it.
Okay, so Sales Transformation Group for more, but this process is a very good one. You don't have to use this process. You need to have a process and have consistent language.
Yeah, there's a couple different processes out there. Jordan Belfort for Wolf of Wall Street does straight line selling. Everyone's got a process, but they all usually try to keep it simple and have only a certain amount of steps, because most sales guys like me, and if it's like you at home, if there's too much, we can't do it, because it'll bankrupt us in our brain, because we can only do a couple of different things well.
So you don't have to do this one, but on this analogy of the baseball diamond, if you're rounding first, what is second, and how are you getting there?
Yeah, so second is we're trying to get the customer from suspect to where they're actually now a prospect. There's somebody that we actually want to do business with, right? We actually think that, okay, they actually have a need. that's legitimate, right? We can actually help them. Because if we can't help them, like if we get to their house and the roof's brand new and there's no leaks and they don't, I don't know, they saw their neighbor doing it, but they don't really need it. Mm-hmm. Chances are they're not going to pay me an extra $5,000 because I'm the best roofer in the country to like come do my roof. So like I'm kind of just going to disqualify them. Say, sir, you don't need a roof right now. Like call us in a few years, right? Mm-hmm. Unless they really press. And if they really give me a good compelling reason to like want to do business with them, then I'm going to keep moving through the process. And I like to ask a lot of questions between first base and second base. Mm-hmm. Most salespeople get to the appointment and they go straight to the estimate. They want to get the eagle view and they just want to get the numbers and they just want to puke and show up, tell them about how they're certified in this and they're master this and we got this many Google reviews and we got this amount of warranty and we're the best. So they cut right across the baseball diamond. Well, we know what happens in baseball. If you do that, they throw you out. Because you're shortcutting the process. So you can find compelling reasons. A lot of times I like to, and in contracting, it's really easy. You just ask them, when's the last time they hired a contractor and how that experience? We were talking about, an experience that you had where you hired, you were trying to hire a contractor and they didn't do a great job the first time and you had to hire someone else. Well, I want to extract why that didn't go well because guess what? I want to know what you care about.
Yeah. In my case, I was like saying, I don't mind to pay a little bit more. I just don't want to have to pay 3 companies and I don't have to organize with 3 companies.
Right. A lot of times we get customers that say, well, no one will call me back.
Yeah.
And I go, I totally understand. I say customer service is so important here. How did you like the person that treated you on the phone at Big Fish? And again, I keep tying stuff back to the customer service because I know in this world that customer service is the one thing that you can't measure on a quote.
Yeah.
It's like you can't measure, you can only feel it.
Yeah.
So that's why I have so many touch points on our process. And you want to extract, hey, the bathroom guy, he left a mess and I was really mad at him. And, sometimes it'll be like, I never paid that guy. Every contractor I've never paid. Well, guess what, guys? That's what we're saying. You know what, sir? And then you give them your favorite competitor's name down the street.
Are you sick of what passes for leads these days?
What's wrong with shared leads? Or Facebook ad leads? Yeah!
Not much, unless you want to be the lowest bidder on every job. I wear a lot of hats, but search engine marketing and website, I've passed off to a Google specialized team.
We're on second base.
Yeah, we're on second base, and we're going to third. What does it really take to make a qualified prospect for you guys? And what do you think is really important for roofers to catch here, getting into third?
Again, we want to make sure they need it. We want to make sure they have enough reasons that they really want to buy from us. Yeah. One thing I forgot to tell you is we want to quantify the problem too. So what's the cost of not doing it? Yeah. What's the cost of not doing it with Big Fish? What's the cost of just hesitating on a decision, not doing it this year? Mm-hmm. A lot of things are, right now, inflation's the easy one. Prices are freaking going up, right? Mm-hmm. The cost of not doing it now, if the roof's $10,000, next year it's going to be 10 or it's going to be 11 or 12. Mm-hmm. Maybe an SEO, right? It's instead of this, it's going to be that, right? Mm-hmm. Because prices are going up, employees' wages are going up. What happens if that leak keeps coming in? Now you get your ceiling damage. Now you're gonna have your floor damage, and you have the time off work. You want to make that as painful as possible, so that way you can have that customer feel that emotion because people buy on emotions. People buy on emotions, so you got to get them to feel the pain because we know Pleasure Island's coming soon when you're going to deliver the presentation and the solution to the customer. But before you get there, once you've decided that they're good, you think that they can move on in the process, now we want to figure out, will they pay a little bit more to do business with us because we know we're not the cheapest? And most of the time, if you've done this the right way.
Do you actually say that?
Yes.
Like, will you spend more with the company that they have great customers?
I try to, I don't know exactly what my people say all the time, but I train them and they're supposed to say, and most of them do, because they do this process from first to second. First to second takes the most amount of time. That's where all the work is, okay? First to second's where all the work is. Second to third's a little bit faster because they're more answery. So would it be fair to say if we can solve your problem and you know that we're the best company in the market to do it, because I know that's why you called us, would it be fair to say that you'll pay a little bit more to have the best products, the best quality, the best service?
Absolutely.
Okay, then we just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And a lot of times then, then it goes to timeline. How soon were you trying to make this decision? Who else cares about this decision? Because right then and there, we do a two-step close, okay? A lot of guys out there, from the storm markets probably and some of the old school, man, they like the one call closes. They want to go in. 'Cause, again, I understand time, right? But because we're building a brand and because we're in a retail market and because I want that long-lasting experience, I actually want more customer service touch points because I want that stickiness to the brand. So I did that first appointment, if you're the husband and you're there and your wife's not there and I see 3 kids running around, I see extra cars in the driveway, I see pictures on the wall.
Yeah.
Hey, does anybody else care about this decision?
No.
Nah. Is your wife the decision maker? Like, you can't say it like that, right? Like, you got to say, hey,
My wife is definitely the decision.
we all
maker.
know. And again, we all know that. And the more experienced you are, like, you just can't take what they say because everybody wants to be a tough guy, right?
Yeah.
The guys want to be tough guys, and the girls want to be tough. The girls want, and at the end of the day, it's usually a joint decision.
Yeah.
And it's a combination. Some people, it's a joint decision on money. Sometimes it's a joint decision on product or color. It's not necessarily
That's good.
in my family.
I can spend that money, but
my-
my wife's going
she
to make
cares-
the decision on color.
Exactly. She
That's
cares
so
about the
good.
look, right? So you still need both people there.
Yeah.
The other thing, the reason that you want both people there is because 9 out of 10 times, there's going to be 1 or 2 people there that's going to be, once you get the job, that you're going to have to deal with during the job. So you want to start to establish
build
that
rapport,
rapport. Because whoever wins the rapport game is who you want to do the most work with when there's a problem. Because if there's a problem and you got 85 sheets of wood to replace, you don't want to talk to the person you don't have a relationship with because then they try to think that you're pulling a fast one on them.
Yeah.
So it's really important to figure out timeline for decision, how they come up with the process for their decision, and then I say, cool. Sounds like we're going to be a great fit. I'm going to go ahead and do my inspection. That's when I do the inspection, people. That's when I do the inspection.
Yeah.
Now, if a customer wants to lead you and they want you to start walking around the house, because some guys do, I'll walk with them. I'm not going to slow them down, but I'm still going to work my process. Even though the customer thinks they're leading me, I'm still going to lead them with the questions from first to third. Even though I might be walking around their house, but I'm not flying a drone or I'm not getting up on the roof. I'm not going in the attic until I actually make sure that they're a qualified customer. And that's when I'm on third base. And that's when, and I get all my information. Take the picture, and then I say, and I don't leave an appointment without another appointment.
Yeah.
So when can we come back to discuss the solutions? Because usually
That's when you're rounding third and into estimate.
you're at third, and I'm leaving. So once I take the pictures and I get my measurements and I run the Eagle View, the Hover, whatever app you use, that's when you set up another appointment. That's when you try to get the second decision maker. That's when you get the second decision maker. If there's somebody else that cares, do not schedule an appointment where they both can't be there.
Yeah.
And that's why some of you sales guys got to work at 7:00 at night or on a Saturday. That's when you're going to be able to close more deals. That's when you're going to be more effective.
Yeah.
So you do that. You understand the purpose of why that's so important?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So then everyone's happy. They just had an experience. They don't know a price yet. They don't even really know anything about shingles. They don't even really know why you're the best yet. You haven't even really. You might have sprinkled a couple things in. Don't show up and throw up.
Yeah.
Do not come in and say, "Oh, we're GAF Master Lead. Oh, we're doing that." Dude, it's too soon. It's too soon.
Yeah.
Salesmen are in such a hurry for that commission check on Friday that they whoa,
Yeah.
they just puke. I mean, and you got nothing left in the bag. You need to save your
Also
bullets.
positioning yourself as a salesperson from the get and not in a way, this other way kind of positions you a little bit more as I'm just finding out what you got and figuring out if we're a good fit. It feels like you're not, it doesn't feel as salesy because you're really in the
It's not.
assessment.
Well, because you're asking more questions. If you're talking more than they are, you're losing.
Yeah.
So the rule of thumb is the customer should talk twice as much as you because you're asking them lots of questions.
Yeah.
Lots of questions. It's like you're eating. It's like you're eating the popcorn. The Michael Jackson meme where he's sitting in the popcorn and he's eating and he's watching the movie. That's what you're doing because you're letting the customer. Tell me more.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. Why do you think that happened? You want to get inside the mind of your customer because every customer is different. You're the same, but every customer is different. So you really want to empathize with them because when they can feel empathy, and Gary Vee talks about empathy a lot, hence I'm here in Minneapolis for VCon.
Yes.
Shameless plug, but
Yes.
you want empathy. Empathy, it wins your relationship with your wife, your kids, your coworkers, your friends. If more people had empathy and just stopped, caring about themselves as much, the world would be a better place. You would get more better results. And so that's third base. We'll get to third base.
So let me kind of ask.
All
So
right.
I think one of the reasons that's it's comforting to get up on the roof as soon as possible. I think it's like
Well, because what you know, because
Yeah.
a lot of you guys have been in the roofing business way too long. and you start to forget what it's like to be on the customer side of things. I mean, and a lot of customers are actually, here's the other thing with customers, they're programmed for you to get up on the roof.
Yeah.
They actually think it's interesting when you start to actually care. Like, so most of them customers don't even know what they don't know until they find a true professional, until Ben Fisher comes in and starts asking them questions and actually cares about their situation. And I'm trying to get the whole perspective. Sir, how long do you plan on living here? You don't need a 25-year warranty if you plan on selling this house in a year. Well, guess what? You also probably don't care about the best service because you're not going to be, you might not be a great fit.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
We shake hands. Do you understand why we're not a great fit, Tim? Because we're going to be a little bit pricier. That price doesn't pay off for a little bit longer term. If you really are flipping this house next year, the only benefit to you is you're not going to have to babysit the project. And if you're willing to pay enough money not to babysit the project, we can still do business. I just want to let you know why I'm a little bit worried that it might not work.
So that, to me, that's very alpha or sigma or whatever you want to say, because like, if you're withdrawing, it's kind of like in dating.
The takeaway clause.
Yeah, the takeaway.
Yeah, the takeaway clause.
If you can do that, if you can successfully do that, and that does require having 5 prospects lined up behind them, and ultimately like believing that you're not a good fit for everyone. That's true, right?
Confidence.
You really believe
you have
that,
to have
right?
confidence. Well, yeah, because you do believe it. Like I do. Like everything I'm telling you, I believe this is not a sales pitch. This is just a process, so that way you can teach your guys. That way you have consistency, so your head doesn't go crazy because you have 5 personalities in your office, and they all came from 5 different backgrounds, and we got to get them on the same page quick. And this is just a process for that. And again, there's different ways to go about it, but questions and empathy will never go wrong in any process.
So do you send this estimate before you give the presentation? So the next one, rounding third?
Yeah, so we booked the appointment, we did our inspection, right? We got everything, we got all the stuff, boom, we leave. We know we're going to be back in 3 days. We even tell the customer, sure, just so you know, and again, we're always giving the customer expectations for the next appointment. So in the first appointment, when we call them, hey, just so you know, we're gonna come. We're gonna go over your situation. We're gonna, go around your house. We're gonna do an inspection. Tell you a little bit about us. I'm gonna find out a little bit about you, so I can help solve your problem. Fair enough. Boom. On this appointment, hey, on the next time we're gonna come back. We're gonna give you, and depending on the situation, right? I'm gonna give you a repair solution.
Yeah.
And a replacement solution. Now, if it's just a repair and you know that like the roof's brand new and they just got one little thing and you know that like you're not really going to pitch them on a cool. We're going to give you 2 or 3 repair solutions. Okay. So that they just call you for a chimney flashing, but you also know that their pipe boots are bad, but they singularly called you for a chimney flashing. They're not even in their mind because guess what? You don't know the pipe boots were bad because you didn't even inspect the roof yet. You also don't want to start selling them stuff that you didn't look at. So when you do the inspection, that gives you time to go back to the office to prepare a game plan for when you present your solution, whatever it is, whether it's a repair and a replacement, whether it's a basic, better, and best replacement. There's no repair option, but you're giving them 3 options. I'm a big fan of giving them multiple proposals. At least 2 at minimum, but 3 would be.
Because we're comparing animals, us homeowners. I want to compare something. I'm going to compare you to you, or I'm going to compare you to competitors.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like a lot of times, customers right now have a hard time getting anybody out, so that they just want options. Yeah. And no one ever picks the cheapest car in the car lot. Yeah. Think about the last time, and I always ask customers that. When I look at that car in your driveway. That was never. I guarantee there was a cheaper car on the car lot that day. Guaranteed. So no one ever picks the cheapest ever. In their mind, that's what they're programmed to say, but that's not true. So you come back, and then this is where you kind of want to recap your last appointment. Hey, so when I was here, we talked about this. You told me these 2 things are important. Keep it simple. Like just like a salesman want to keep things simple because it's just easier for our brains. But sometimes we like to complicate stuff for whatever reason. I don't know why, but we do. Keep it simple for the customer because find out those 1 or 2 things that they actually care about. Because then you're going to tie your whole presentation and your whole proposal to them based on the 1 or 2 things that they actually care about. Yeah. If they don't care that you're GAF Master Lead and you've won all the President's Awards and you got 15 stars on the Angels List and like they don't care, dude. You care because it looks good on your fridge at home, with your wife or your mom. But most customers don't care about that stuff. We care because we're in the business and we want to show off to our other competitors and stuff like that. Yeah,
but that is a lot for other competitors.
Listen, I mean, it's never. I will just tell you. I hope the manufacturers can close their ears. Yeah. It's not about the roof.
They know.
It's not about the roof. It's never about the roof. I mean, it's like Pepsi and Coke, man. They just want to drink.
Yeah.
It's like their brands, right? Like there's minor differences, and we can go on. There's, you can go to the roofing.com Facebook group, and you can find all that information out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then when you get back to you just, hey, we're going to go over some solutions. I'm going to go over your inspection. This is why I love Company Cam. I literally go show them their roof. They've never seen it before, up and close and personal.
Oh yeah.
Right? I show them on an iPad, or you can, if you're really savvy, you can just stream it to their big screen TV. Show them that that pipe boot that's eroded, the chimney flashing that's all gnarly. No one else is showing them this stuff. Like no one's showing them this stuff. But it takes time. You know what a lot of sales guys do? They waste so much time and they rush through every other process that they have. This is where the selling is. You show them the roof. And then you go through a little slide deck if you have one. You don't have to, but if you have a slide deck, it's nice to show your company. Show them a little bit about the company. You can speed through that deck or slow that deck down based on your customer's body language, their tone, what they care about, and always finish each spot or slide with, do you see value in that? Get them starting to say yes. Get them starting to say yes. When you get to the end, do you think that I'm the one that can solve this problem? Do you think I understand your problem? Do you think our company can handle this job?
Yeah.
Do you want my help?
Yes.
Good. All right, cool. Well, here's where it's at, right?
Yeah.
And I show them, and then I show them,
He sold some stuff. I can tell you
and then I
sold
show them
some
the and then I show them the payment,
Yeah.
right? I try not to, the price is there, but trying to show the payment, right? I know we're on Instagram Live, Chris Scoville, he's done an amazing job in this industry of educating roofing contractors who've never been in the finance business. I got lucky. I learned how to sell in the car business. So I feel like I came out of the womb talking about payment options and interest rates and terms and okay, cool. So you want a lower payment? Cool, longer term.
Yeah.
You're trading. You're not discounting, you're trading. Cool, you want a lower payment? You want less down payment? All right, cool, more payment.
Yeah.
Less down payment, no money down? All right, you're gonna have a little bit bigger monthly payment. Is that okay? Oh, you want a lower payment? Cool, can you give me $5,000 down? I didn't lower the price. I'm just, and then guess what? Oh, for $20, yeah, and our best room,
is a big part of your guys' pitch.
well, we're trying to make it a big part. In Pittsburgh, it's more of an old school market, so we're like people. We know that 75 to 80% of our customers have to go get money to go get the job. We know that based on national statistics.
I know that we didn't say the actual company name, and it's Chris Scoville, Service Finance.
Service Finance,
an awesome partner potentially for
any roofing company.
So- and he's what I like. I was just talking to somebody. I was talking to Dave Sullivan yesterday.
Oh, I love Dave Sullivan.
And we were just talking about.
I had a story about Dave Sullivan.
I want to hear it. So we talked a little bit. I was like, I think Scoville might be a good guy to connect with because he wants a one. There's not a lot of these financing companies that have a face. Chris is
nobody markets finance. Everybody.
Chris is out here just
he's a
putting
character
himself everywhere. Dude.
Oh, he's aggressive.
Yeah, I like how aggressive he is.
He's aggressive, but he knows his business, and you can be aggressive B2B. As local contractors, we can't be that aggressive against the competition because it makes us look like. But B2B, when he's competing against all the other finance companies, it's just money. They're just lenders.
You actually don't expect it because I don't think he has to do that. I think
he doesn't
likes
have
it.
to. No, of course, because he's competitive.
Yeah.
That dude's competitive.
So, a question for you, or did you want to share the quick story with Dave, or?
Yeah, well, I started a podcast. I don't know, Cody, was that 4 months ago? But I've been talking about it for a year because I've always wanted to do it. But it's the execution of hitting the buttons, doing the cameras, all that stuff. Yeah, do I know how to do it? Yeah, but I got bigger stuff. I got more important stuff to do, right, than that.
Yeah.
So I never did it, right? But I kept talking about it, and I knew that I was going to have it. And I knew if I did it, I wanted to be consistent with it, and I wanted to keep producing the content. So I really wanted to, same thing with SEO. You got to commit. You got to do it You got to do it.
At least 10 episodes, right?
you got to at least do it, right?
Yeah.
So Dave Sullivan, I don't know, somehow, I don't know if I reached out to him or he reached out to me, but I think he saw something where I was trying to do something. He called me and gave me an hour of his time and gave me all of the tips on how to start a tremendous podcast. He was awesome. He was so giving of his time. And I, Dave, if you're watching, I really appreciated that.
You know what's funny? I was just doing I was looking at his backlinks yesterday because him and I were looking through.
That's nerd talk. Nerd. We're talking about sales.
Yeah.
All everyone else is going to sleep right now. We're talking about backlinks. I'm just kidding.
Literally, 20 seconds, I'll do this. Is we're like in literally like every industry publication has mentioned Dave, like, and he didn't know. He doesn't know because
He's old school, right?
You can't because he doesn't look at his links.
Yeah.
So like I was just showing him, look, dude, every single awesome company and publication in this industry is referencing your podcast because he's
He's
OG.
been doing it for like ever.
Yeah.
I remember trying to listen to him when I was first starting out. This was before I ever read a book or got any coaching or anything like that. I think I remember trying to listen to the Dave Sullivan podcast, and I was like, man, I always knew that one day, like, I want to be Dave Sullivan. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
like, that's cool, man. Like, what he's doing.
Yeah.
And when he told me, he's like, you don't need any fancy equipment. You don't need. I was telling him, I'm getting a Roadcaster. I'm getting the Joe Rogan setup.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I'm getting a Joe Rogan setup, right? Because like that's
Yeah.
just me. I like nice stuff. He's like, you don't have to do all that.
The truth is, and he said this to me directly to my face yesterday. It was just like, it's time, man. He's like, when you're around as long as I am, somebody's gonna mention you. You know, that's just
Yeah,
like
so that's
time
fine,
is
that's
a big
fine.
component to all these things. It's really hard to like quantify.
Well, none of us are patient either.
Yeah.
I will tell you that.
Yeah.
Like all of us want everything to happen tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure he could tell you. I'm sure you said you're 175 episodes in
Yeah.
to your podcast. I'm sure like those first 10, people don't even know where those are.
Oh, yeah,
it's like the lost.
they're bad, to be honest with
Those
you.
are like the lost archives.
Yeah, I mean,
And we won't even know if this show's good for like 10 years from
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Because I'm not going to look at the view count tomorrow because it's going to say 4.
yeah.
But like 10 years from now, who knows? Maybe we'll be famous and maybe it'll be like, it'll be 40 million views one day.
Well, for me, and I mean, it's different for you because you got to get famous in the Pittsburgh area as a roofing company.
5 Mile famous.
5
Who
Mile
says
was-
that? Joe Hughes,
Joe Hughes.
Contractor Dynamics,
Joe
5
Hughes.
Mile famous.
And for us, I just need to be famous with a few hundred people. That's actually how I
Right.
feel. Like I just need to be
And you
making
are.
useful content for the couple
And
hundred
you are.
roofers. Yeah.
This is the roof. If you guys don't know, this is the roofing meme, like OG. Okay.
Yeah.
Him and now you got other guys. Other guys are doing. Now there's like this weird competition.
Yeah.
And it drives you, right? It's fun. It keeps you busy.
I
I'm
will
sure
say,
people love
yeah.
it because
Yeah.
you're busy doing that.
Exactly. I will say I've made a lot of them now, and I'm kind of tapped out for now. But I'll
That's
come
a
back.
self-limiting belief, man.
Yeah.
Go,
I like
in your,
that.
go into your quiet space.
Yeah.
What's in EOS? They take a clarity break.
Yes.
Okay. And just
Come back.
come back, and then boom, you'll have 30 memes ready to roll.
Like just 1 minute on memes. My big thing is like when you're making memes as a roofer, make them like be obsessed with your ideal customer, and then what are the problems? So it relates to sales because I'm constantly thinking about what are roofers' problems as relates to marketing, and so like I have a list of their enemies. I have a list of roofers' enemies, and I make memes towards these enemies. And you should have the same for homeowners.
Yeah, it's just, and again, you can have, and humor is the great equalizer on all tough things, right? And we all do it.
Yeah.
We don't even know that we do it. We use humor to cope.
Oh yeah.
We use humor to make bad situations okay. You
Yeah.
know, and that's okay.
A good meme about inflation, it makes you feel better. It's
Yeah.
it's,
You're not
it's
really
terrible.
Like, oh yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Like when you saw like your 401ks like
Yeah.
cut in half,
Yeah.
and you feel like you're half the man, but guess what? Like you're still putting your pants on the same
Yeah,
way. You're still
exactly.
going to work the same way. Like
Hey.
nothing's changed.
See, that would be a good meme. So I need to make that one about 401k. Hey, you got your roofing company to fall back on here. You know, we don't need that 401k, right?
That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Go out and be a closer. Since we're talking,
Yeah.
let's get back to sales.
Yes.
So when you do the presentation, right? When you do all that work ahead of time, and you qualify the customer on the phone, juicy discovery call, get the appointment, find compelling reasons, make sure they need it, quantify the problem, get the second base, boom, they're a prospect. Now we want to qualify them. Do they want to pay a little bit more to do business with us, or find out the timeline for decision, find out how they make decisions, then do the inspection. Then come back, do the presentation, tell them a little bit about your company. That's just when you can brag a little bit, show them a couple cool pictures. You don't have to go forever. Listen, keep it short. It's more about them, not about you, okay? Remember that. 2 years, 1 mile. I know everybody says it, but it's really important. I have trouble with it too, as you can tell. But it's, but it's important because we're trying to jam this content in quick,
Yeah.
because we also know that roofers have a short attention span,
Yes, yeah.
right? Because we're busy people.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do that, and if there is objections, there's going to be a lot less objections now.
Yeah.
Do you see why we do this? Because the old way we did it, you either get ghosted or you get 85 objections because they didn't have all the information.
Yeah.
Well, now they have so much information, there's only a couple objections that they can have. And again, you're just going to tie it back to things that you talked already about in the previous sales process. So objection, you don't have to become a Grant Cardone, Jordan Belfort, overcoming objections expert, right? It's nice to have a couple of those tricks in your bag and you can learn some of those, but they can become much easier when you can consultatively sell using a process.
And I will say one thing on the presentation side, you got to try to make some of this stuff visual, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
we showed you the diamond for the sales process.
Yeah.
Like, and I will say I just saw Ryan Groth's presentation for STG, and it's very good. It's very visual.
Listen, when I met that man,
Yeah.
and I watched, and again, this isn't even about sales. This is the transformation part. When I was able to get unstuck in sales and be able to train other salespeople, and I was able to actually be that businessman that I wanted to be, it transformed not only my business life but my personal life. I'm much nicer at home. I'm a happier person. I then got EOS, and that really rocket fueled my business. So sales, is like the gateway to like get all great things in life because that's where the abundance comes from.
Yeah.
And not only just, I know we're talking about roofing and we're talking about sales, but it really did. It transformed my whole entire life. I lost 75 pounds. I feel better. I feel more energized than ever before. I can tell you, that's a whole other podcast.
Process in general. So we got the roofing sales process topic here, but process in general frees you up to be able to do more of the things you love, right? So,
live that EOS life.
Yes.
Exactly.
and then they close the deal. So that's it. Well, we slide into home.
That's
They
it.
ask for the sale.
But it doesn't really stop there.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that for that sales cycle it did, but you're always going to want to follow up with customers. That's the marketing side, right? Then you want to retarget them. Then you want to send them an email once a month.
Yeah.
You want to call them on their birthday, to send them a thank you card, all those other things that you can do then to get the referrals because referrals are much easier to close because then you still got to go around the base path. Don't just because your mom calls you for a roof, don't skip the steps. Because don't take it for granted. You can just go a little bit faster on the basis of the referral. That gives you permission to go a little bit faster. You don't have to dig as deep sometimes, but like it's important. A lot of salespeople love a shortcut.
Just real quick on that, something I'm starting to add into our sales process is just like asking, hey, if we're knocking it out of the park, let's say we made your website, we were doing your SEO, you're getting significantly more leads than before. Just in 9 months, what I'm asking for, or a year or whatever, really looking for you to share that with the world. So on social or to your roofer friends or whoever, I'm adding the ask for referrals in the sales process.
Yeah.
And I do think that could be.
We talk about customer review, and for us, it's more about customer reviews and referrals.
Yeah.
We start talking about that on that juicy discovery call when they call in. Because 9 out of 10 times, the reason that they're calling is because they saw you somewhere. I saw your reviews. Oh, someone told me about that. Cool. Whatever they say, we're gonna mention it 10 more times before the time that we put the final nail in their shingle.
Good. That's really good.
Because you got to get them prepped. Because it's hard to get a review.
Yeah.
So you got to get them prepped, and you got to subliminally put it in there. 5-star experience, 5-star this, 5-star that.
Yeah.
You can't just wait all the way to the end, send them a text message with a link to go to your Google thing, and expect them to do it.
Plus, you need 3 5-star reviews for one of them to show up. It seems like these days. So.
I've been on. Yeah, so that's a whole other thing. So I've been on. So we used to have a goal. This is crazy. You said that. Is it called shadow banning?
I don't know why they.
Because I've been getting the same amount of reviews that I did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like 3 times as big, and and we have a it's
No,
really,
I know
fascinating.
it's driving me nuts. It's driving every roofer out there nuts, and it's like,
It's because roofers figured out it, and we have more reviews than most restaurants in town.
Yeah.
And you know how hard that is? I mean, we're dealing with $15,000-$20,000 projects, and we don't have that many customers. I mean, we have probably 1,000 maybe between repairs and replacements. Let's just say 1,000 finished jobs a year. I mean, a restaurant holds 200 people. I mean, you literally can get and again, there's a lot of repeat, but restaurants have 10,000 customers a year, and they only have 300-400 reviews.
Yeah.
I started doing the reviews 7 years ago, and I never looked back. We have more reviews. There's some companies out there that have more nationwide. I haven't found a whole lot, but we have over, I think, 460 5-star reviews. We're really proud of that.
Love it.
Really proud of that.
We're going to wrap this podcast up. Benny, thank you for being on, brother.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for coming in and visiting our office. I know you're here for VCon, or maybe VCon is a cool addition to,
Oh, no, I came for the Tim Brown hook experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, I'm here for VCon, baby. I'm really excited about NFTs in the future, and I'm just looking to learn. So it's a great town, Minneapolis. You're going to come by. You should definitely check out the Hook Agency.
Dude, appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Podcast is put on by hookagency.com. Where could they go check you out? Is there anything you sell into roofers?
I'll sell anything.
Okay,
I
well,
just
check out his company on social.
try to help
Yeah.
roofers. I'm Benny
Yeah.
Fisher on Facebook, bigfish.benny on Instagram. I got a podcast, the bigfishcares.com podcast. Would love to interview you guys, love to talk to you. I'll give you at least a half hour, an hour of my time to give you. Basically, I feel like I just dropped everybody that's ever helped me in the roofing business. So I feel like
I like
Dave
that.
Sullivan,
I like that.
Joe Hughes, Ryan Groff. My EOS coach is Ken Koistra. If you want an EOS
That's
coach.
a big one. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, Company Cam. I love Hover. GAF.
Keep on going, dude.
Yeah.
You need the racer, the racer jacket for brands. I was just thinking about that.
Patches everywhere. I'll be like
Dude.
the NASCAR guy.
Wait, so sorry. Company Cam. Who else?
Company Cam and Hover. I use
Yeah.
AccuLinks for my CRM.
Okay.
As far as coaches and mentors and stuff like that, Ryan Groff's been a huge person in my life. Joe Hughes, huge person in my life. Ken Koistra, my EOS coach. I'm sure I'm forgetting names. Dave Sullivan, he reached out. People all over the country. But you know what? Relationships are two-way. You have to give to then get value back. And I've been very intentional about building relationships, especially when I go to conferences. I don't just go and oh, look at the slides. Oh, that's fun. No, I'm going out and meeting people. I'm being very direct and very intentional about, picking people out who I want to grow with.
You know what's funny? Last bit.
We just wrapped up.
Yes.
Yeah.
P.S.
PSS.
It's just funny, I do agree that some roofers spend a little too much time on roofer Facebook. I think you should spend a little bit more on your city Facebook and stuff like that. But at the same time, there's
Community pages too.
yeah, those are huge.
Those are fire.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Less time clowning on roofing.com.
Yeah, exactly. But think about it. People are out here kind of talking smack about conferences, and obviously you're not going to go to all 10 fucking roofing
10.
conferences.
They're I think there's 1,000.
100. You're not going to go to all 100.
Sure,
of
and now
them.
all the roofing owners are starting their own conferences, which I think is fascinating.
But what you're saying though is when you go to those, be intentional, go to good ones, and be very intentional about your connections because those connections open stuff up. It's not just about the speaker.
Well,
although John Maxwell's great.
Do you want to hear something? This came from, I was at Wealth Builder. I heard about this is the first time I ever heard about Martin Pettigrew and Monarch.
Yeah.
And then it's at the same time that was happening, I saw you were down there.
Yeah.
I know Ryan Groff hangs out down there. Adam Sand. Adam Sand's another beast with the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
And then and then Dimitri, I started hanging out. I never even talked to Dimitri. I knew who Dimitri was, but I never had time to watch YouTube while I was
Yeah.
building my roofing company.
Yeah.
Literally never had time. Now it's like, oh wow, look at all the stuff Dimitri's
Yeah, it's
done
cool
over the
stuff.
last
Yeah,
10
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of cool that as you start to elevate, you actually have more time. But you can't elevate without a good sales process.
I like it. So, hey, I appreciate you guys watching this. Have a good one. Bye.